Is the U.S. walking straight into Iran's battlefield advantage? With Marines arriving in the region, Washington may be gearing up for a confrontation Tehran has long prepared for. According to a report by the Washington Post, the United States military is preparing for possible ground operations in Iran, a move that could significantly escalate the ongoing conflict. Officials cited by RT News say thousands of American soldiers and Marines have already been deployed to the region, signaling that planning is no longer theoretical but operational. However, sources suggest this would not be a full-scale invasion. Instead, the focus could be on targeted, high-impact missions. These may include raids carried out by Special Operations Forces alongside conventional infantry units, designed to strike quickly, achieve specific objectives, and withdraw. Among the key targets under discussion is Kharg Island, a critical hub for Iran's oil exports in the Persian Gulf. Seizing or disabling this strategic location could have major economic and geopolitical consequences. Other plans reportedly include operations along the Strait of Hormuz, a vital global shipping route where U.S. forces may attempt to neutralize weapons capable of threatening commercial and military vessels. Officials familiar with the planning say these missions would likely be limited in duration. Some estimate operations could last weeks, while others suggest a timeline of a couple of months. The goal appears to be swift, precise action rather than prolonged engagement. Meanwhile, the U.S. military presence in the region continues to grow. According to CENTCOM, the amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli has entered the Central Command area of responsibility, carrying around 3,500 sailors and Marines. The deployment includes advanced aircraft, amphibious assault vehicles, and tactical support systems, all indicating readiness for a range of combat scenarios. As discussions continue within the U.S. administration, the situation remains fluid. Any decision to proceed would mark a significant escalation, with far-reaching consequences not just for the region, but for global stability. For now, the world watches closely as military preparations intensify and diplomatic tensions rise. Iran has sought to project stability in its critical oil export infrastructure, with officials asserting that operations at the country's main export hub remain unaffected despite ongoing conflict. Speaking after a visit to Kharg Island, the spokesperson for Iran's National Security Commission, Ebrahim Razaei, said that oil exports are continuing without disruption. Life is continuing and oil exports are proceeding without any problems. Security is completely established on the island, he said, dismissing concerns over damage to the facility. However, the exact date and location of his video couldn't be verified.
We have arrived here along with several of our colleagues at the resilient island of Kharg. Thank God life is flowing, oil exports are uninterrupted, and we haven't encountered any specific issues here. Security is completely established on Kharg Island. The dedicated staff of the oil industry are also carrying out their operations on this island. What I can tell you with absolute certainty, and I want to emphasize this, is that our armed forces have made a solemn commitment and sworn an oath that should any aggressor dare to violate this Iranian island, they will undoubtedly face the most severe and decisive retaliation, and we will not be defeated or pushed back.
Kharg Island is central to Iran's energy economy, handling nearly 90% of its crude oil exports, making it a high-value target in any escalation. Razaei's remarks appear aimed at reassuring both domestic and international audiences that Iran's export lifeline remains intact. At the same time, the messaging carried a clear warning. Razaei said Iranian armed forces are prepared to respond decisively to any attack on the island, stating that any aggressor targeting Kharg would face the harshest response and would not return alive. The statement underscores Tehran's intent to deter further strikes on its energy infrastructure. The comments come against the backdrop of competing claims around the status of the facility. Earlier, U.S. President Donald Trump had released footage purportedly showing American strikes on Kharg Island on March 13th. However, the exact timing and authenticity of visuals circulating from the area remain unverified. The strategic importance of Kharg Island lies not just in its volume, but in its vulnerability. Any sustained disruption to operations there would have immediate implications for global oil supply. So far, Iran's messaging suggests that such disruption has not materialized. But the wider fallout of the conflict is already visible. Shipping routes, including the Strait of Hormuz, have faced disruptions, and global oil prices have surged past $100 per barrel, reflecting market anxiety over supply risks. The volatility has also triggered protests in several countries, grappling with rising fuel costs. In this context, Iran's assertion of normalcy at Kharg serves a dual purpose, reinforcing deterrence while attempting to stabilize market perceptions. Iran has once again asserted its determination to defend its national sovereignty against ongoing aggression. The country's top diplomat emphasized that Tehran remains serious about protecting its national rights amid what it calls unprovoked attacks by the United States and Israel. Foreign Minister Abbas Araghachi made these remarks during a phone call with his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, on Friday, highlighting Iran's principled stance in defense of its sovereignty and national interests. Araghachi outlined the continued unlawful attacks targeting various sites across Iran, including civilian centers such as schools, hospitals, historical landmarks, and residential areas, describing them as clear violations of international norms. The Iranian minister also addressed the situation in the strategic Strait of Hormuz, which Tehran has restricted to adversaries and countries aiding in the aggression. He described the resulting insecurity as a direct consequence of American and Israeli actions in the region. Preventing passage of vessels belonging to the aggressors and their allies is Iran's legal right as a coastal state, Araghachi stated. He added that authorities have taken measures to ensure national security while maintaining safe navigation for vessels of other nations through coordination with relevant authorities. Lavrov, in response, reaffirmed Russia's condemnation of the ongoing aggression and stressed the importance of respecting the fundamental principles of the United Nations Charter. He emphasized that regional and international security must be maintained. The Russian foreign minister also expressed Moscow's willingness to continue consultations with Tehran aimed at reducing tensions and restoring stability across the region, signaling a united front on diplomatic and security issues. The Strait of Hormuz, a key global oil shipping route, has become a focal point of regional tension, with Tehran asserting that measures taken are strictly defensive and aimed at exploiting by adversaries.